What's up, beautiful people? My name is Morgan Downey and welcome back to the Get More Fit YouTube channel. Here at Get More Fit, we are a health and life coaching business that strives to help single women break free from insecurity, heal unresolved pain, and transform unhealthy habits so that they can thrive spiritually, mentally, and physically. And today I am getting into 3 mindset shifts that I think are required in order to get out of toxic relationship cycles. So if this is something that you've struggled with, if you watched my video from last week and you've realized that you can relate to this toxic cycle and you're like, okay, where do I start? What do I do? I'm going to share with you guys 3 mental barriers that need to be shifted in order to really step out of this cycle. So without further ado, let's get into it. The number one thing to start with in terms of mindset shifts is fully surrendering and accepting your single season. So let me break this down. In terms of fully surrendering, I mean fully surrendering to whatever comes in this new season for you. I think so often we fight with, I don't want to be single forever, so I'm just going to keep dibbling and dabbling because what I really want is to be in a relationship. And you don't just accept, no, I am going to be single. I'm going to do this work on myself. No matter what it looks like, I'm committed. I will be patient. I will take my time because I want a relationship, but what I want more is peace. And if you don't get to that point, it's always going to be a tug of war. But if you do get to that point and fully surrender, okay, God, take it all. Take all of the toxic mess that I have been in, and I need you to cleanse me. And I say that it's so important to fully surrender to God and not just what you want, the single season that you think you should have. No, you need to surrender to the Lord Jesus Christ and what He has for you in your single season, because He knows exactly what you need. So I'm going to give a little story time about kind of what this looked like for me and how I learned that it has to be a full surrender to Christ and not just you being like, oh no, it's okay. I'm just going to be single and I'm fine for as long as I need to be. So when I graduated from school, I moved back home to Philadelphia and, I'm living at home. I feel like I'm doing well. My mom had recently passed away, but I started to really tap into things that I was interested in. Working out was like really big for me. Obviously, Get More Fit had just kind of started during that season, like really, taking on clients and stuff. And I felt really good. And I knew that I was okay with being single as long as I needed to. I was not in a rush to get into a relationship at all. And I felt like because I had surrendered, being in a relationship for the time being and was just pouring into myself, as I started to feel better, because that's what happens. You're going to start to feel better. Okay. No matter whether you do it with God or not, you'll start to feel better for a temporary time. But I started to feel better. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I wasn't necessarily in therapy. I wasn't necessarily working through the internal things that I had really been struggling with just yet. And that really hindered me. But by the time I went to get into another relationship, which kind of fell out the sky, I was not looking for another relationship at all. But because I hadn't fully surrendered to God, I was still trying to use my own understanding and walk a relationship out. So I started doing things that still led to toxic cycles. And in our own strength and what we know about relationships, that's going to lead you right back to the toxic cycle again and again. Like, you have to get to a place where your heart is open to surrender to God and how He wants us to do things. What is His will for your life? because it's so easy to feel like, okay, I'm doing better, so I'm gonna try this again because I'm in a better place. But you leaning on your own understanding is going to lead you to the exact same place where you just came from, more than likely. Or if it's not the exact same place, it's going to be a little bit better, but it's never, ever gonna be better than what God can lead you to. So fast forward to maybe about a year later, because the relationship that I was in, it ended up getting a little toxic towards the end. But the only thing that helped me realize, like, within this relationship, something had changed in me was because this time I wasn't so attached to the person that I couldn't walk away. So yes, I had gotten into a relationship, I would say now prematurely. However, I had used the time in my single season, or in this part of my single season, to really enjoy my own company, that I knew that I could get to a place of peace without this person. Because at that point, the relationship had got to a place where, like, I just genuinely was not at peace anymore. My peace had been stripped away because there was so much going on in the relationship. And I was able to step away and never look back. But the Morgan before probably would have been going back and forth for a while. So I was able to get out of this cycle and recognize, nope, this is toxic. I need to get out. It took a little less than a year. I wasn't in the relationship. It didn't, last for years. But once I noticed it, I was able to step away way faster than I had been in the past. So that was a win. However, after that experience was, girl, give it to the Lord, give it to the Lord. Because I still wasn't in a place where I had an understanding of what God wanted for me in my relationships. And I had to let go of that, starting with forgiveness, which I talked about last week. But starting with forgiveness and really understanding, like, why God calls us to forgive and how to forgive and all those different things. And one of the main reasons why it's so important to surrender to God is because He knows, He designed relationships. He knows how these things are supposed to go. So if you're trying to walk out a new relationship with your own stuff, all your baggage, and you're not giving it to Him and submitting it to Him and saying, God, show me the way, you're always going to lead yourself down the wrong path. And this kind of goes into my next point. Second mindset shift that you have to get to. I'm sorry, sis. I have to say this. Sex cannot be the reason why you continue to entertain dudes. It cannot. You have to shift your mind to a place where you have surrendered sex. You don't need sex as much as you think you do. You don't need it. Let's be clear. You don't need it. You need water. You don't need sex. And I feel like there are a lot of women who they might be trying to get out of a toxic relationship cycle, but they're horny. Let's keep it a step. And they just want to have sex. But that's not a reason to keep pulling yourself back into a toxic cycle. And this kind of ties into the first point of surrendering to God, because God calls us to save our bodies for our spouse anyway. And I know that a lot of people don't live their life that way. However, I'm going to tell you from my own experience, when I got out of that relationship, I was like, look, God, I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to be celibate. I'm not going to talk to nobody unless I believe that He could absolutely be my husband. I'm not going to get in a relationship with anybody who I don't think could be my husband. I committed to not having sex because I knew that, one, God didn't want us to. He didn't want me to have sex with someone who wasn't my husband. Two, I knew that if I allowed that to be one of the things that kept the door open to communicate with these dudes that I knew weren't my husband, I was just going to keep wasting my time. I don't care who you are. Emotional ties are a part of sex. So if you're out here giving your body away to just any and everybody, or maybe not everybody, but anybody who's not your husband, that is going to affect you. I don't care what you say. So being able to surrender sex and say, I'm not going to have sex until I find my husband and we are married, because that is what God calls for us. And I'm telling you, sitting on the other side of being a married woman, there are so many reasons why God really commands us to do this, to live this way, because it is out of protection for us. How many times have you slept with somebody and you end up getting hurt? And it hurt more because you slept with them, or you're mad at yourself even more because you did that. So I'm sorry, ladies. I'm not sorry. Surrender it. I promise you it's going to be okay. And lastly, the third mindset shift was shifting my mental from a place where I didn't have absolutely any hope that I could find someone who treated me well, who treated me how I deserved to be treated, and just getting a mustard seed of faith that it was possible. So I think it's very natural after you've been hurt time and time again, after you've seen your friends get hurt, maybe your own mom, whatever the case is, you've seen all these situations where it just breaks down your belief that like, no, this can happen for me. And it wasn't until I shifted my mind and realized like, no, I'm going to believe that I can be with someone who's faithful. I'm going to believe that not only are they going to be faithful, but they are going to be committed to helping the relationship to work, because not sleeping with other people is the bare minimum of creating a healthy relationship. And if you don't believe that, one, you deserve better, if you don't believe that you're worth more, if you don't believe that anybody is out there for you, it's going to be almost impossible to actually walk it out and stay committed to what you're hoping for in the future. So as a word of encouragement to my single ladies out there, the word instructs us, all you need is a mustard seed of faith. You don't have to be walking around, oh, I know it's going to happen. It can be, you know what? I believe it can happen for me. And I'm just going to believe that. Because I'm telling you, anything that counters that, it's not going to help you. So you might as well change your beliefs to something that will help you move forward. So this is a kind of a quicker video, but let's just run through this again. Okay, so one, we're going to fully surrender to God, and we're not going to surrender to what we think is how relationships should go. We're going to surrender to what God thinks and how he believes and how he designed relationships to go. A big part of that, I want to add, relationships is not just romantic relationships, but your relationship with him, your relationship with yourself, and then your relationship with others. So we need to restructure and fully surrender to his plan for relationships, period, and accept what it is and what it should be and how we should be striving to live. Number two, we're fully surrendering sex. It's not worth your peace. It's not worth your future. It's not worth your future family. And then lastly, we are shifting our mind to just have an ounce of faith and belief that, no, you are worthy of real love. You are worthy to be respected. You are worthy for a text back. Okay? You are worthy, and we're going to have faith that it is possible. So, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please drop them below. If you are struggling in any area and you just want to chit chat with someone who you feel like can relate to your situation, hit me up. I'm open. You can follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, all at GetMoFit. And next time, if there's any suggestions, anything you want to hear more about, please drop it in the comments or DM me. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. All right, bye.